Hi, welcome to Chase Life. So this is our actual official announcement that we'll be hiking the Appalachian Trail in 2024. We did a 42-second video before for Terra Tracks, which is awesome, but the channel is awesome. But yeah, we didn't really, being limited to 42 seconds is pretty difficult. I'll try not to make this too long. So we'll be hiking the trail with Atypical. I'll go by Chase, and we'll talk about trail names and how we came to those later, but that's a whole nother subject. One of the things that we'll also video about is introduction to the people involved, because there's going to be 4 of us, as it were, which is a bit unusual. So we originally had a plan. The original plan was that I was going to just solo hike the Appalachian Trail, and then it kind of morphed into, well, I would hike the Appalachian Trail with my wife Andrea, and but then she's since adopted 2 rather large rescue pups, and we tried to figure out how would that work, and we talked about getting a actual van that she could then go with us, and I would do the hike and she would do the van. And then it became apparent that that was really not a good idea. She's got a career. She's finishing up her dissertation for her PhD, and that's keeping her pretty busy. So yeah, so then I was just going to hike alone. So I started doing a lot of planning. This is probably a couple years ago. I started doing a lot of planning, figuring out one of the challenges, of course, is being vegan, is how do you eat plant-based on the trail? What could I buy to replenish? Where could I resupply? I did a lot of research on resupply options, where to pick up, started mapping out all this stuff, did a lot of planning. Along the way, my wife Andrea said that she wasn't really happy with the idea of me going alone, because she knows that I'm the kind of person that if I broke a leg, I'd probably just keep walking, and that concerns her. So we were thinking about, like, well, who could we ask to go hike with, that kind of stuff. And it turns out that a little over a year ago, my daughter, Atypical, said, hey, I'd like to hike the trail. And I was thinking, like, wait, what? And so when you learn about Atypical, that she's autistic, but she's also sort of a shut-in. She's basically spent her entire life, she's 18 now, not going outside, not doing anything physical. So this is quite a shock, and she really dislikes sensations like heat, anything unusual. It's a lot of typical autism traits. And but I asked her why. Why do you want to do this trail? And she gave me a good reason. She said to push herself, to get better at this stuff. So I'm like, I can't ignore that. So that was one of the, I think, goals for her. So it's now Atypical in us, which made my wife happy. At least I have somebody who can watch over me. Call for help anyways or something, I guess. So then we started planning, what's it going to take to hike with the 2 of us. And I started buying all new gear for her. And been buying gear now for 3 years. The bad thing about that is new gear comes out and I feel compelled to replace the old gear that I haven't even used yet, like my flex tail pump. Anyways, a few months back, maybe more than a few months, I think early fall of 2023, my good friends came from Southern California in their van. They travel around in a live-in van in their spare time, and I knew they were going to hike the AT also, and this year. And my only goal was I just needed to get out there before them, because I took it personally, kind of joking. But anyways, they've been doing some practice hikes, and the wife said that her back really wasn't up to it. She's struggling a little bit, and she doesn't think she could hike the entire Appalachian Trail, but he still wanted to do it. So she proposed. She wasn't really happy with the idea of him hiking alone either, and she said, hey, what if you guys all hike together? And that would be 3 of us. And I'm like, interesting. But then she sweetened it with I'll provide van support the entire way. They're both retired, so I'm like, oh, okay. So now the plan changed again. Now we have to start planning how to do this with a van. Now some of the things got a lot easier. It added some complexities and some difficulties, but all of a sudden I don't have to worry as much about resupply, and we can carry stuff in the van, and we have to pick points where we can meet up with the van. And yeah, so it'll be the 4 of us. It'll be Chase, Atypical, Vanna, and Rocket. I think it's Rocket. That's the name I'm proposing, because he's a rocket engineer from Jet Propulsion Laboratories, and Vanna because, well, she's with the van. So yeah, that's our plan. We'll be leaving in early April. Oh, originally our plan was to do, I did a ton of research on this and decided I think a flip-flop made the most sense. So I was originally going to leave about April 1 from Harper's Ferry, hike north to Katahdin, flip back down to Harper's Ferry, and hike south to Amicalola / Springer. There's been some wrinkles in that didn't work out based on Vanna and Rocket's schedule. They have to be at our daughter's graduation in North Carolina in May. So we revised the plan. We're going to start at Amicalola we'll start at Amicalola, stay a night in the lodge, walk up to Springer Mountain Trail terminus, and then hike up to Hot Springs. We'll take a few days break, then drive up to Harper Ferry and go back to the original plan of Harper's Ferry to Katahdin, then flop back down from Harper's Ferry south, finish in Hot Springs. Not quite an epic finish in terms of like climbing the Mount Katahdin or even walking through the arch, but it'll work. The important thing is that we do it. I intend on walking every foot of the trail. I don't know if that makes me a purist, but I'll be a purist that's platinum blazing. So yeah, it'll be a modified, supported flip-flop or something like that. Anyways, more later.